The man who invented the shopping mall spent the last years of his life telling anyone who'd listen that he wanted nothing to do with it. He said it had been ruined, deformed, turned into something he never designed and could barely look at. And here's the part that should stop you cold. He wasn't talking about the malls that failed. He was talking about the ones that worked. Because the mall wasn't supposed to be a place you drove to, bought something and left. It was supposed to be a town, a real one, with squares and cafes and daylight. A place where a whole community could live part of its life indoors, out of the cold, out of the heat, together. For a brief window, in America and across Europe, it almost was exactly that. Millions of people have a version of it burned into memory. The fountain, the food court, the escalator you rode just to ride it, the specific echo of 1,000 footsteps under one roof. And then, quietly, over about 30 years, it died. Not because people stopped shopping. They shopped more than ever. It died because of 3 decisions. None of them looked dangerous at the time. 2 of them were even celebrated. The first one was made before most of these malls were ever built, and it had almost nothing to do with shopping at all. Picture the original promise. A man named Victor Gruen, an architect who'd fled Europe, looked at the American suburb in the 1950s and saw something missing. No center, no square, nowhere to simply be around other people, so he designed a cure, a climate-controlled heart for the suburb. Shops, yes, but also gardens, meeting rooms, space to gather. The store was meant to be the bait. The community was meant to be the point. The first ones opened. People wept at how beautiful they were. And then the money noticed. That's where the first decision comes in, and it turned Gruen's town square into a machine. Decision 1. The tax change nobody voted on. In the mid-1950s, the United States quietly rewrote a rule about taxes, not a law about shopping. A rule about how quickly a new building could be counted as a loss on paper. The details are dry, the effect was not. Almost overnight, building a brand new commercial structure, like a mall, became one of the most profitable things a wealthy investor could do, whether or not the mall itself ever thrived. Historians who've studied this period argue it helped set off a building frenzy. Not malls built where towns needed them, but malls built wherever the math worked. America ended up with more retail space per person than any nation in history. Far more than it could ever fill. Think about what that means. A country doesn't overbuild something by accident. It overbuilds when the building is the reward, and the customer is an afterthought. So the mall stopped being a place designed around people. It became a place designed around a spreadsheet. And a spreadsheet feels nothing when the lights go out. But overbuilding alone doesn't kill a thing people love. Plenty survived the crowd. The real wound came from how these malls were built. The single design choice that meant each one carried its own execution date from the day it opened. Decision 2. The anchors that became anvils. Every classic mall was built around anchors, the giant department stores at each end, the ones that pulled you in and let the smaller shops live off the foot traffic in between. It was elegant. 2 or 3 big names would sign long leases, often on unusually generous terms, and the whole mall was engineered around them, like a body around its heart. Here's the problem no one wanted to say out loud. You didn't build a mall, you built a machine that could not survive without those specific stores staying alive. And those stores were part of a business model that was already, slowly, beginning to rot. When one department store chain weakened, and through the 1990s and 2000s, one after another did, it didn't just close one door, it pulled the foot traffic out from under every small shop that depended on it. The little stores emptied, then the second anchor left. Then the corridors went quiet, in a way that's hard to describe unless you've stood in it. A mall doesn't die like a candle, slowly dimming. It dies like a domino line. One anchor falls, and you can almost watch the rest come down. And still, even overbuilt, even fragile, the mall might have held on. People still wanted somewhere to go. Except the third decision took away the one thing the mall had left, the reason to show up at all. Decision 3. Choosing the transaction over the place. Somewhere along the way, the people who ran malls made a choice about what a mall was for. Gruen's original idea, the the gathering place, the town square, the reason to come even when your wallet was empty, was expensive and hard to measure. The benches, the events, the sense that this was somewhere you belonged. The transaction was easy to measure, so, gradually, the transaction won. The gathering spaces got smaller, the seating got less comfortable, some of it on purpose to keep people moving, spending, not lingering. The mall was optimized year after year into a very efficient box for separating people from their money. And it worked, right up until the exact moment it became a fatal weakness. Because if a mall is only a place to buy things, nothing more, nothing you'd miss, then the day someone invents a faster way to buy things, the mall has no defense left. No loyalty, no second reason to exist. That faster way arrived. You're likely reading these words on it. Online shopping didn't have to kill a town square. You can't download a Saturday afternoon with your friends. But it could easily kill a vending machine the size of a stadium. And by then, that's mostly what the mall had agreed to become. Which brings us to the part that isn't really about buildings at all. Walk into a dead mall today, and there are hundreds of them now, on both sides of the Atlantic. And the strangest thing isn't the emptiness. It's how loud the memory is inside the silence. The fountain that's been dry for years still has coins at the bottom. Somebody, decades ago, stood right there and made a wish. A first date. A first job behind a counter. A teenager who felt, for one afternoon, like the whole world was happening under that one roof. And that they were finally part of it. That's what was actually lost. Not the stores, the commons, the last indoor place where a mixed ordinary crowd, old and young, every kind of person, shared the same floor without paying admission, without an algorithm deciding who saw whom. Victor Gruen saw it coming. That's why he disowned his own invention before he died. He'd tried to build people a place to be together, and watched the world turn it into a place to be sold to, and then throw away when the selling moved somewhere cheaper. He called those malls bastard developments. His words, about the thing he's most famous for. And here's what should keep you up tonight. We tell ourselves this is a story about malls, about nostalgia, about a building type that had its moment and faded, the way things do. It isn't. Because the exact same three decisions, build for the money, not the people, hang everything on a few fragile anchors, strip away every reason to show up except the transaction. Those decisions didn't stop at the mall. Look up from the screen for a second. Look at your high street, your town center. The place you're picturing right now is still there. Ask yourself which anchor it's built on, and ask yourself what's already started to